When I was reading this One Piece chapter, I felt a great nostalgia. Chapter 1143 reminded me of moments of like Vivi when she was first a villain and then out of nowhere she became one of the most loved characters in One Piece history. Or Nico Robin, Miss All Sunday, the actual one of the top tier villains of Alabasta, being a monumental, important member of the crew and in the entire story. And then there's Frankie. Frankie, man, Luffy and him went head to head in Water 7. By the end of Ennie's lobby though, Frankie was a straw hat pirate. And Loki gave me this vibe because he was talking a big game, but at the end of the day, he kind of defended himself when it comes to the death of King Harold. And we all theorized it from the hints, and it looks like to be true that Loki was framed. Shanks met up with Loki recently too. Luffy wants to talk to him. I feel like by the end of Elbaf, Loki will be one of the most loved characters in One Piece history as well, and it's gonna be hyped to see. So everybody like the video. Let's try to get 1,143 likes for this chapter. Turn on notification, guys, and subscribe to the channel, guys. We're so close to 100k subscribers. I have a big thing planned when I hit 100k subscribers. So the first thing I want to talk about is, of course, Loki. Zoro asked Luffy if he's gonna let Loki off easy. His wounds are about to open anyway, so even if Luffy didn't even attack Loki, Loki probably would have passed out. Maybe not right in that moment, but eventually he would have passed out. And this led to, of course, Luffy going up against Loki, as Loki knows he lost the game when Luffy went to attack, and Luffy one-shot him in his base form. And honestly, when I read the spoilers, I have to keep it real with you guys. I was like, yo, Loki's trash. Luffy didn't even go gear 5 like he did against Lucci, like he did against Kizaru, like he did against the Gorosei, and he still one-shot you in his base? Loki, I thought you were arguably maybe even the same level as Luffy, maybe stronger the way they were hyping you up. In chapter 1142, I was like, yo, Loki is a beast. And for him to get one-shot, and then I read the actual chapters, and there's hints throughout every page of Loki's in that Loki is not 100% and that Loki is bluffing. So honestly, it made me look at the one-shot a little bit differently. I don't look at Loki's power level different. If anything, I look at Oda stopping a monumental fight that is Loki versus Luffy. Loki versus Luffy is probably gonna be on the same level as Kaido versus Luffy. Now, of course, Kaido is stronger than Loki and Luffy to me right now, but I mean, like, when it comes to top tiers going at it, and Oda wants to save Loki for later, so he already hyped him up in the first 10 to 15 chapters of this arc, and I love what we saw from Loki, so I don't mind him taking a rest. So now that I talked about Loki's aura still being intact, I want to talk about how Loki pretty much tells Hiruden to attack him. Hiruden is very upset, he's very mad, and Loki says, just do it already. I'm tired of you hearing this legendary warrior weep from you, Hiruden. Of course, Hiruden is his big brother, so he wants to kill his little brother, and says pretty much to him, you are dumb for even thinking I killed the father. The theories were right. We all theorized that Loki was framed, and Loki confirms it from his own mouth. The fact that Loki said this, I think he's telling the truth, because he already tried his play. He already tried his trick. There's no reason. He's been locked up for 6 years. Why tell the truth now? Like, if anything, I respect Loki. He was locked up for 6 years on a lie. Think about that. Now, would he still have been locked up because of how savage he was? Maybe. But the main reason when he was locked up was because of killing his father, King Harold. So, honestly, Loki covering that up was cool. Now, I thought it was going to be completely different. I thought it was going to be Loki saying, I killed King Harold, I killed my father, but because he was evil. But no, Loki's saying he didn't kill King Harold. So I want to know what the actual truth is, because you know the Holy Knights like King Harold and they want Loki to join them. So it's just so confusing, but just like to hear the clear. I love to see that Loki just said it right there. I didn't kill my father. Now, I must admit, this chapter was titled based around the Holy Knights, and Bigland Shamrock is not in this chapter, but if I'm going to be completely honest, I'm liking the Holy Knights in this chapter. Gunko, Killingham, Summers, their personality is pretty good right now, honestly, for villains. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even feel like they're villains. Yeah, they say savage things and evil things, but their energy is so like good energy that I'm like, yo, these are pretty cool characters that Oda just created in the final saga. We gotta give Oda credit, yo. In the final saga, he's still making unique, cool characters. And Saint Killingham has the mythical dragon fruit model Kirin, a dream materializing man, as he takes salt from Summers' head and lets them eat this delicious zero-calorie diet that they loved. Gunko loved it. Yeah, this guy is scary. The fact that his power is so hacks, like it's a hacks pretty much. It's a mythical zone hacks. Now, how physically strong he is, I'm not too sure. But if I'm gonna be honest, this guy probably is like a Frankie, Nico Robin, Brook-esque opponent. I would love to see Brook versus Saint Killingham. Soul King, of course, he's the king of the dead. And then we have Killingham, this mythical Kieran, dream materializing man. So it'll be cool to see what they can do with this character, but he's the one who's causing all these monsters to go way higher, way haywire. We even saw a monster in this chapter destroy some giants. So yeah, this guy is pretty strong. And then there's Summers. For some reason, Summers' aura looks to be the strongest out of the three. I'm not saying what he has shown physically, because Gunko, Summers, and Killingham, I don't know which is the strongest. Killingham has that mythical Zoan. Gunko has that arrow fruit that reminds me of Imu. And Summers has the thorn fruit that was revealed in this chapter, aka a Briar Man. This should be interesting because Summers' energy is like he's the strongest. Honestly, Summers looks to be like a top Holy Knight commander. That way he's talking, the way he's moving, his energy. He looks to be like the queen guy of the Holy Knights, like that kind of character right now. But honestly, all three Holy Knights look to be strong, but I can't tell how strong they are until we get an actual analyzation of the entire Holy Knights group. All I know is there's a hidden Holy Knight that should be the strongest. There's Figurland Shamrock, who should be the second strongest. And there's Figurland Garland, who got elevated to Gorisei. So he's automatically the strongest with any mythical powers that Imu bestows upon him. And he was on God Valley going crazy. So yeah, Holy Knights hype is there, but they're just chilling right now. It's not really like a crazy hype. They're just chilling. And the Thorn Fruit, I was more hyped by the mythical Zoan, but the Thorn Fruit did do some crazy stuff too as well. And his energy is like, okay, this guy seems to be pretty strong as well. I thought it was also cool, like the Loki concept in this chapter, seeing Loki talking crazy, saying none of you can lift Ragnar. This is obviously foreshadowing to Luffy using Ragnar in his Gear 5 form as he threatens everyone and says he is the true Sun God Nika that Loki thinks he is when it comes to Elbaf mythology. But I'll say this right now, Usopp. If Usopp picks up Ragnar, that will be even crazier. It is supposed to be his arc where he becomes a brave warrior of the seas. So I don't know where Oda's gonna go with this, but Loki's statement here is gonna be a big part in Elbaf. Someone else has to pick up Ragnar. It kind of reminds me of how, like, I think it was the series, Marvel series, where we had Infinity War, Endgame. Captain America picked up Thor's hammer, and Thor was like, he did it, I knew it, because we all know Captain America almost picked it up, I believe, in the second Avengers movie or first. I'm not too sure. You guys can correct me in the comment section. Sanji's also confused about Oz, like, who's this giant, like this huge monster giant, as Luffy says he's injured and he needs help. The fact that Luffy still wants to help Loki even though he's talking so much trash shows that Luffy knows this guy is not in peak shape. Zoro even warns Hiruda not to fall for this bait, showing that Loki's personality is kind of like Usopp in a sense, the way he tricks people, because Hiruda actually believed that Loki's about to destroy Elbaf, and I'm thinking Zoro, Sanji, Luffy can just tell from his injuries that this guy has no power and strength to him right now. Zoro even continues to expand on this, saying that he was already at death's door and was using all his power just to stand up, and would have escaped later and just passed out in silence and probably died due to the blood loss. So what I learned from that is, whoever did that to Loki, people think it was Gunko's arrows. No. It was Shamrock's Cerberus sword, that mythical sword where he had 3 Cerberuses attacking and rotating into Loki's stomach. And he said to Loki, if you survive this, we can fight. Well, Loki officially survived it. But you know what's funny? If no one was there, Loki would have died to Shamrock's attack. And that is going to motivate my new video. Yes, my new video is going to be, is Shamrock one of the strongest characters in the series if just his sword can do that to Loki? Now, Loki, you had, of course, Sea Prism Stone. He was getting beat by Gunko for a minute. So, yes, I know, but still. And he couldn't defend himself with Haki, like, I feel like on that crazy level, but still. Shamrock's sword, that was cool. The fact that Loki was almost died from it, that was crazy. He even says that Luffy saw a lot of blood, and Road thinks this is connected to, of course, the Shanks thing that happened in the castle when it comes to the giant guards being taken out by someone that looks exactly like Shanks. Luffy even has a question for Loki, probably revolving around Shanks, and pretty much asks Hyrule to heal him. Now I'm thinking Hyrule hates Loki the most out of anybody in Elbaf, but the problem is Hyrule is part of the Grand Fleet. He has to listen to his boss Luffy, so it's a really trap card here, kind of like a catch-22. It's a really good concept that Oda's doing. Like, the storytelling in Elbaf is top tier. If I'm being honest, I'm liking the storytelling in Elbaf more than Egghead Island and Wano. Even though Wano is one of my favorite arcs in the series, and Egghead Island is also one of my favorite arcs in the series, the storytelling in Elbaf is top tier. And then we see the doctor of the new giant pirates, of course, led by Hyrule, Gerd, say, pretty much will take a couple of months for a full recovery by Loki, showing that yes, again, Shamrock's sword attack was crazy, and they can't bring him to the village, of course, because it's instant execution. And all I'm thinking, that Ja Rule guy has to be a snake. The fact that he was there when Loki and King Harold were going at it, and Loki saying that he didn't kill King Harold. Now I'm thinking, who did? Maybe Ja Rule killed the King Harold. I'm not too sure, but I don't like the sound of it right now. And he says he likes old ladies like Mother Caramel. The theories are going on and on right now. And then after, of course, Luffy knocks out Loki, we see that Luffy's interested in Loki's giant horns. And of course, they tell him it's ancient giant horns. His father had it as well. This led to the flashback where we saw Harold saying to his sons to support Elbaf as Loki disses his big brother for being weak. And disses his mother as well. It's kind of like the reverse of the Thor movie where like Thor was the full blood and Loki was the half blood. Now Loki's the full blood and of course Hirunen's the half blood. But it still stays intact that Hirunen is older than Loki, just how Thor is older than Loki. And this looks to be the father, looks to be like Odin's son. That's the vibe I'm getting when it comes to the mythology element to One Piece, when it comes to Thor and Loki and that reference there. So I thought it was cool, honestly. And honestly, like the disses to Hirunen's mother, I get why Hirunen wanted to kill pretty much wanted to kill Loki. Like, yeah, this guy probably pissed him off growing up all the time. Now I have to admit, the beginning of the chapter was pretty interesting, seeing Saul get a warning from the gym teacher but still got thorned by Summers' devil fruit. And Robin even tried to tell Saul like, yo, don't do it, we already got warned. This power seems to be very formidable and very much of a problem when it comes to trying to free the kids. The fact that the thorns keep on attacking, it's crazy. We learned there's 9 kids going towards the 8th branch as Ja Rule's great-great-grandchild goes to that school and is very worried for it. And you see the Giants are just drunk, just like mimicking Ja Rule, what he said, and they're just wild. And I feel like this is all being reported through the Telediction snail, only used in Elbaf. That's a cool little concept there going on. And the fact there's 9 kids, and it looks like Summers is Delfruit or Killingham. I was a little confused on what's Delphu's actually being used. I know Summers is being used when it comes to the thorns, but what Delphu's being used to be luring them to, of course, where the Holy Knights wanted to be. Is it Killingham's dreams Delphu, or is it Summers' thorn Delphu? I'm assuming it's Killingham's Delphu, but I gotta do more research than that when it comes to rereading and everything. But all I know, there's a nerf. It's 9 kids maximum, because they would have done more if they had the chance. And then we see this fire squad of giants, the Fire Brigade, riding this Fire Savar ship, and they get one shot by a zombie monster that's huge. And this is why I think Killingham could be the strongest Holy Knight right now in Elbaf, because that is crazy power to have. It's like, it's very hacks, I'm gonna be honest with you. The fact that it's a zombie monster can just go out of nowhere and just destroy giants, that is an OP power. Now, of course, Summers destroyed Saul and the gym teacher with the thorns. But both these Holy Knights are pretty much doing their justice. But still, like, I don't know. It's going to be really cool to see who is the strongest of the Holy Knights. And then we notice that Summers is the most evil out of all 3 Holy Knights, as he laughs at Love and the thorns and excited for the parents to get worked by his thorns when they try to free their kids, as Gunko doesn't really care. And I'm thinking maybe she's a revolutionary army. That's why she's not really talking as evil as Summers. That theory is going to go a long time until it actually gets revealed what Gunko actually is, because she doesn't have a saint in front of her name like the other Holy Knights. We also see Gunko using her Delph to guide the kids to the ocean clouds next to the western village where Shanks was. So it's pretty cool to see that they have a whole plan to escape Elbaf. Like, that's their whole plan. I thought it was pretty cool, like, just seeing that. Then we see Summers angry how easy the game was, but Gunko lets him know, don't drop your guard. Gunko says, Yonko Straw Hat Luffy, Emperor Straw Hat Luffy is on Elbaf. It's cool to see after Wano, because Luffy had respect in Wano as the 5th Emperor, but after Wano, when he became an official Yonko, yes, Egghead Island, it was cool to see, like, oh yeah, Yonko Luffy take over in Siege and all that, but we had admirals there in Gorosei. But now in Elbaf, finally a regular island, we see the hype of a Yonko crew being there, and that's Luffy. Usually it's like Kaido and Big Mom versus Emperor Saga, but now Luffy's the top dog, and I love it as a fan, if I have to be completely honest. I love Luffy as a Yonko. And the last thing I have to talk about in this chapter has to do with the Holy Knights. The Holy Knights say the next batch of kids, pretty much if the kids, the 9 kids they have go through the fire that's spreading and die, they're just going to do another batch of kids, showing how heartless these Holy Knight monsters actually are. And they are celestial dragons, so we shouldn't be shocked how evil their energy is. But as villains, I have to keep it real, they're really good villains. I think they're one of my favorite villains. This arc is giving me a lot of Enies Lobby vibes, how I loved CP9 as villains. So I think this is cool. and even gives me the CP9 vibe as how like Lucci, Bluno were, and of course Kaku were like the original CP9 that was shown in Water 7, and then we added Jabra, Cha Cha Papa, and all those other characters. So yeah, definitely gotta say it was cool to see. Love the chapter. I'm gonna do some cool videos revolving around the chapter, so of course you guys gotta check that out. But of course, if you had any problems with what I said, debate in the comment section.